The Sendine Hospitality Cloud is an integrated technology platform driving marketing and sales performance in more than 30,000 hotels around the globe. The award-winning CRM suite integrates with hundreds of technology platforms to capture intent, preferences, past behavior, and satisfaction for every guest. Learn more at Sendine.com. That's CENDYN.com.
Welcome to the Hotel Tech Podcast. This is the show where we tackle your most pressing issues to bring your business more wins. Keeping up with technology is challenging. Our experts are here to help you figure it all out. Here's your hosts, Glenn Hausman and Estella Hale.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hotel Tech Podcast with me, one of your hosts, Glenn Hausman. What a crazy winter this has been. It's cold, and I just can't wait for the spring thaw, but we're still a little way away from that. But to help get me through and to create a nice, warm, toasty tech podcast, we have Miss Estella Hale, Chief Product Evangelist with SHR. Of course, that stands for Scepter Hospitality Resources. She's one of the top tech minds in our incredible industry, and I can't do this show without her because she's just so much smarter than me. My wonderful, amazing co-host, Estella, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Glenn. But really, the great minds are the guests that we have in this show. But so excited to be kicking it off again, and just all of the topics that we will have this year, and just very excited about this one that we're covering today as well.
Right.
It's going to be very rich.
Now, before we bring in our amazing guests, I did want to say the show has been doing absolutely terrific. We are so successful, and it's really exciting, and it's because of each and every one of you, our amazing listeners out there that are tuning into the show. In fact, we've had such a great time that we're able now to do it 2 times a month. So it's going to be less hodgepodge. After that first 10-episode season, it was absolutely great, but now we're on a sure footing. We're going to do 24 shows, it looks like, this year, Estella, and it's just great to see how people are rallying behind this show, right?
Oh, yes, that is just so great. And it also, just brings to light the relevance of the topics. And again, we're just very, very fortunate to have such wonderful guests that bring those relevant topics to light, and that create the demand for it. So all very exciting.
Yeah, and speaking of wonderful guests, we got one here right now who's been patient, hanging on for 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's the incredible Jennifer Jones from J2 Hospitality Solutions. Jennifer, welcome aboard to the show. Well, we are doing great. Much better now that we have you on board, Jennifer. So I think really the best place to start before we get into our topic is tell us what is J2 Hospitality Solutions so people who are listening can understand the point of view from which you're going to be coming from.
Sure. Thank you. So at my company, I'm a freelance IT consultant, and basically people hire me to solve business problems with innovative technology solutions. So there's a gamut of different systems that I cover. I help gather requirements to help make sure that we complete a thorough system evaluation to make sure that we're selecting the right systems that you need, integrating them, and implementing them. So kind of a variety of PMS, POS, sales and catering, CRS. I also handle a lot of hotel openings and running the IT project management side of things to make sure that everything gets installed, everybody gets trained, and we have a seamless hotel opening.
Wow, what a great business that is. And I guess you're doing a lot of thinking about what's going on with the state of what we're calling the hotel tech stack these days. Maybe you could kick it off by just sharing with some of the listeners that might not be as technologically savvy exactly what the tech stack is and why it's so important to a successful hospitality operation.
Sure. I've been focusing a lot this past year on a lot of in-room technology. People want the comforts of home in their guest room, as we know. And so we've been focusing on quite a bit of things like casting with streaming TV, such as your Netflix, your Amazon, introducing Alexa into your guest rooms. I've also been getting involved in a lot of the minutia around EMV to make sure that your restaurant, your hotel, are EMV compliant with their credit cards. making sure cards are secure and being transmitted in a secure fashion. In addition, we've been transferring a lot of our on-premise hotel technologies into the cloud. So, there's been quite a bit of activity going on the last year, and I'm looking forward to what's coming out in 2019.
Yeah. So, Estella, you got a question for her? Do you want me to start off the official questioning portion of the show?
No, I was just going to mention that I think the approach of really looking at what are those business problems and solving them with technology, whether it is, transferring on-premise to the clouds, whether it is looking at what the guest is looking for, that in-room technology, etc. I think that a key part, or something that I would like us to focus on for the audience of the podcast, is really starting at what problem it is that you're trying to solve, or what gap it is that you're trying to fill. Because many times it starts with the technology being chosen because of what have you, whatever reason, maybe one particular feature, etc., and then trying to fit into everything that exists. And so I really am fascinated and encouraged by the approach of looking at the business problem first and then solving that with technology versus the other way around. So I just wanted to say, just wanted to see how you approach that, Jennifer, from your side.
Sure. Well, I kind of divvy out business problems between two types. They're guest impacting problems, or they're problems that are making your operations inefficient. So basically, we sit down and make sure that IT is never owning a project. IT is never the one making decisions. You're always opening up the evaluation into several of the departments that system may touch. People may always seem to leave out the poor accounting folks, or the poor housekeeping folks, or that reservationist who's always taking calls. So basically understanding, at the end of the day, we want to generate more revenue at our hotel, but finding whether these problems are going to improve guest experience or make our operations more efficient.
Hey, Glenn here. Are you overwhelmed by the digital marketing landscape, or maybe you're underwhelmed by your current digital marketing agency? Well, G-Commerce's well-thought-out marketing campaigns draw their strength from the synergy of multiple disciplines working in concert and guided by an overlying strategy to drive new customer acquisition at the absolute lowest cost. They pride themselves on seamless customer service that makes you feel like you're part of the team, facing challenges and celebrating successes together. Your business is unique, and your marketing should be too. Contact them today for a free assessment of your digital marketing health and how they can help you improve. Visit gcommercesolutions.com to claim your assessment. But more importantly, guys, listen, this is Glenn speaking to you right from the heart. These guys helped create my NoVacancyNews.com website. It is amazing, it is awesome, and it helped transform my life. They helped kickstart my business, and they can help you too. So visit gcommercesolutions.com and claim that assessment. Hey, and tell them Glenn sent you. So then, thinking about it from that point of view, where are the places in the hospitality, in the hotel, that hoteliers really haven't been focusing on and should probably pay a little bit more attention to?
Well, there are several areas that technology touches in a hotel that may not be generating revenue, but it's integral to have in your guest room to provide that comfort from home. Things like, as I said before, introducing Chromecast into your room. That's how people are accessing Netflix. It's not generating revenue because previously we were implementing pay-per-view movies in our guest rooms. So including that, talking about ways on your online booking engine to plate up more promotions, packages, a la carte items that will help generate revenue, and making sure that your users who use those systems have that training and are always being proactive to plate up those kinds of additional revenue generating opportunities.
And within that, Jen, I love that you mentioned the the areas of either the guest or the operation side, because in those times where you can help with that guest experience, it does impact the operation side to make it either better or worse. So there is thankfully a lot of focus in creating that user experience on the online side, those differentiators, because hotels, they know most of the time what markets them better or where differentiates them, and they know that their website is a way to expose it. But then when they start implementing or trying to implement these a la carte items, really to take into consideration those that will end up delivering the item. So if you're creating service items, if you're creating a la carte bookings, checking that your technology allows for the support of the guest side, and also the technology allows for the operation side, that the message will flow to the appropriate system with the appropriate whatever it is, even if it has to be mapped. But it ends up with, on the operation side, who's going to deliver that experience, because it's not going to be just an online experience. It has to be all the way through to getting to the guests. So that's something else that we're seeing as well.
Yeah, that was perfectly said, Estella. One of the key things is it's integral to make sure that the great marketing minds that we have in our hotels coming up with these ideas and these promotions work hand in hand with the technology teams to make sure that whatever they're going to be promoting can be easily implemented online to the guests, but also integrated in a manner that you're not now creating 10 manual steps behind the scenes to actually execute. So it's always important to me that when we start talking about technology solutions, really around an online booking engine, that marketing and IT are always involved in terms of understanding all of the touch points that have to happen after.
That's a really interesting point to me that you're making there, Jen. But I'm also really curious as to about how do you, in your role, maybe align people behind certain technologies that you feel are much more critical to their success as a business than they may sometimes realize.
Sure. It's always important to go into an evaluation understanding the big picture. Because if you're going to be implementing a whole new ecosystem of technology, you could select one system first, but then realize that causes an issue with other systems you can select. So it's always important to make sure that you're understanding the pros and cons of it. Let's say if you're comparing 2 to 3 systems per category,
right,
to understand how they integrate to the other categories of systems before you're making that one choice, because making one choice at the beginning could then hinder it's a domino effect down the line.
I completely agree. And even just writing down the different aspects that one thing takes. I'll give you guys an experience from a guest perspective. From a guest perspective, I checked into a hotel one time. I was a little rushed, as I frequently am. So I used mobile check-in to get my key, get to my room, get to a meeting that I needed. The next day or two after, when I was checking out, they were asking me to make sure if I had received my package. Well, it turns out that a package that I needed on the day that I checked in had been in the concierge desk the whole time. But because I had done the mobile check-in, it didn't integrate with the comments or messages or something, so I got my package at checkout. It is something that might seem very simple, but that it has an impact in that guest experience. And it could be a simple matter of simply writing down all of those business needs, all of that guest journey that it takes for something. Again, if you're doing mobile check-in, what are all the aspects of checking that will take as you're choosing the technology? And maybe you have somebody in mind. And then when you look at all of these things, having the ability to have departments work together, such as what marketing wants to do, what IT knows that they can accomplish, and then somebody that is working the vendor, the integration side, really that side that will make the things connect together and make sure that you're not losing one experience for the other.
Well, I got to jump in here for 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Estella, you check out of hotels? I didn't know anyone actually did that.
That's true. That's right.
Sorry. Go on, Jen.
No, I was just, I was thinking of kind of a popular solution that I've been seeing quite a bit in hotels that it's transformed from the scenario that Estella just talked about,
right,
where there's all of this collaboration between the internal teams to make sure that they can execute. And I've seen quite a bit of different tools being used internally that has substituted for the old school logbooks. We always would have the change of shifts and people would be writing down issues or notes in a red logbook at the front desk. And now we have these great apps that we can use very, very much like social media between our own colleagues to help make the guest experience better, because we're able to deliver in a better fashion that's keeping everybody involved. So I think about the scenario that Estella just talked about and how tools like that can help hotels.
Right. What I'm curious is, I think about how we've really switched to the hospitality industry is very fundamentally a technology industry at its core these days, once you get past the helping the guest part of it. But you only have a limited budget to invest in technology. What is the right way to deploy that capital to be most effective? Is it a back-of-house thing? Is it a front-of-house thing? Is it distribution? Is it getting a cloud-based PMS? What are the top things that you think owners should be talking about before they start to add all of the additional bells and whistles? Well,
I mean, at the end of the day, a property management system is a property management system.
Right.
Its core functionality is to check people in and check people out. So in the foremost, most important thing to me is making sure that your data is secure. We've all heard about issues in the past with larger companies who have been breached, and it's really critical. It's fascinating to me how many people still aren't able to navigate credit card security. And to me, if you haven't tokenized your credit cards, if you aren't transferring credit cards point-to-point encrypted, and you're not accepting chip, you've got a problem. And to me, that's the first place your money needs to go towards.
Great. Makes a lot of sense to me, is protecting that income, because if not, you're going to wind up in a whole lot of trouble. That could even be so many fines that could put you out of business. So overall, how would you evaluate the state of the hotel tech stack? Are hoteliers really coming along and understanding the critical nature of technology, or are they somewhere in the middle, or perhaps there's still a large group of folks out there that are just trying to pretend it doesn't exist?
Well, I think when you compare the hospitality technology or hospitality industry to other industries, we're kind of just in the middle. We definitely we lack some of the integrations. We don't have a lot of the open platforms other industries have that kind of keep us restricted. I think we continue every year to see great progress, especially at shows like High Tech, and the evolution of new products. But I do feel in comparison to other industries, we're kind of behind.
Yeah, that seems to be our thing. We're always behind on everything. But sometimes it actually works out to our advantage. Not with the technology thing, not with data security, but in other areas as well. Estella, how about you? You take it over for me. I'm tired. It's in the middle of the winter here. I'm exhausted.
No, well, another aspect that I think is something that is coming more and more to the forefront, and this year particularly, is taking a look at that guest impact and reaching that guest. We know that hotels, we've been hearing for years that hotels are bringing their guests directly. They're investing their digital marketing dollars on that guest experience, etc. But many times we see that their booking experience is powered with the same attributes that they power, for example, OTAs. Typically, availability, rates, and inventory. Not putting anything else into creating a guest experience that can be unique for a guest. And I think hotels are recognizing that the investments that big online travel agencies are doing in creating that guest engagement with the minimum information that they get. Again, the availability, the rates, and the inventory. So if they don't do anything in addition to that to publish the booking experience, it is like fighting a battle with one hand tied behind your back. So really, one of the things is, like Jennifer mentioned, more openness to that integration so that different systems, from the guest recognition system or CRM to the revenue management system to the distribution side, to really do more with that guest experience throughout the entire journey that you will have with that guest, in serving them and investing in serving them in that way. Because if you continue to stay with the paradigm of the widget that we invented almost 2 decades ago, that is just a room, a rate, and a date, it's just not enough anymore.
Yeah, Estella, to continue on from that thought, we talk a lot about availability, rates, and inventory, and we're always focusing on guest rooms. And I think one of the areas that our industry lacks is that all-in-one shopping experience. If I'm going to a destination and staying at a resort, there's much more I'm doing than just booking a room. And I still feel that we can improve in our industry on the overall booking experience. So when I grab that lodging and put it in my cart, what about my spa? What about my round of golf? Does it cross-compare when I've booked a massage at this time and a tea time at this time, so it knows that I can't double book? It's the dining reservation. It's that whole experience, and those are all things that have availability, rates, and inventory. Yet we don't have that secret sauce that combines all of that booking experience into like an Amazon-esque experience.
And also just keeping track of, as you're navigating the site, how many seconds were spent on the spa page versus the golf page. So which one do I give priority if you're booking 2 times at the same time, and which one do I ask to move? Almost making it seamless, because when we are interacting with our phones, it is bringing us back that relevant information based on the last action that we took. And so I do see focus and investment from the technology perspective into saying, okay, how are we going to bring the next relevant action versus always putting the burden on the guest. But again, we have to do that taking into consideration the complex areas of operation, integration, and all of this in mind, so that the experience is not just that online experience, but also during the check-in, during the stay, and during one of the most complex things to do is a modification. When you have all of these attributes and you're trying to make it very simple to the guest to change something, and trying to find what was the the pivotal thing that motivated the booking? Was it the event? Was it the room availability? Was it the treatment? So really trying to tackle those is very exciting, but something that I think we'll see more of a focus on.
Okay, so all of this makes sense, Jen, but one thing that I'm very curious about is ultimately at the end of the day, who should own that tech budget and be making these decisions? Is it the general manager? Is it the owner? Is it the management company? What do you really recommend?
Well, I think it depends whether you're a brand affiliated hotel or you're an independent.
Right.
I work mostly in independent properties. So, regarding IT budget, it's owned typically by whatever system is supported in that area. So if reservations needs a new tool, perhaps it's something that's budgeted for them to make sure that widget A gets an upgrade to serve the guest better in A, B, or C. But introducing new ideas into a hotel can be complicated and vying for the dollars that get spread out between new projects in the upcoming year. So I always recommend to people that, you formulate a capital project committee, and you create a template to go in and state your claim. I need this. This is why. This is how it's going to generate more revenue. Or if we don't do this, it's going to impact negatively in these ways. And make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's and get proposals and estimated dollars that you're going to spend. And, that's how typically a committee will then approve future IT project budgets. So, I think it all depends the size of your hotel. But, that kind of formal process always makes sure that at the end of the day, whatever you do gets done successfully, and you don't feel like at the end of the day that you wasted dollars because you didn't have a detailed scope of what this was going to do and improve.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question that you're going to give me another it depends answer on, and that is how much money should we be setting aside every single month to think about technology upgrades?
Yeah, that's definitely an it depends question, because as we're moving a lot of technologies into the cloud, you're doing a big shift in your capital budget into operating. Right. Because as of these cloud-based solutions are services and monthly subscriptions, albeit they can be lower cost than, of course, upfronting CapEx expenditures for an on-premise system. That really can change the way that your budget is handled. Great. So that's a tough one. It just depends on the system. Yep. Depends on the size.
Yeah, but I think you made a very valuable point about as we're moving to cloud, that the financial formula is changing. It's very much kind of like, I guess, buying a car versus leasing a car, where one, you have to put up all this money up front or borrow a whole boatload of cash. The other is just kind of pay every single month, right? So it just kind of changes the way that you have to look at expensing it as opposed to the amounts that you have to worry about initially.
That's right.
Right. Great. So before we wrap up, Estella, you have any more questions for Jen here?
Jen, just if you can, I don't know, and somehow encompass really the initial message that we started in the podcast, and to how our listeners, hoteliers can look at their system selection and their implementation of technologies as business problems that they're solving with tech solutions. I think that is to the benefit of the hotels, but also of the technologists, because it creates the camaraderie of coming together to solve a business problem. So I don't know if there's something that you've seen or something in which way that you can encourage hotels to approach tech with that business problem frame of mind.
Absolutely. I mean, it all starts with gathering requirements from the users. what is it that their problem is and what does a solution have to do in order to make their lives better. I've seen some great camaraderie come out of exercises like that when we put together a list of feature requests, must-haves, nice to have, and then we rate them. And, at the end of the day, I see departments lobbying for something they need, but yet maybe they help out another department to get a vote on their side to make sure that they can get this feature in. And, hey, if you help me and vote on my feature, I'll vote on your feature. And then that's how, when we're delivering the top 10 list of enhancements that we need to send to a vendor for our roadmap of next year, it's a great exercise, and it's a lot of collaboration. And, at the end of the day, your users play a part in developing the products that they use practically every day of their lives.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that really kind of pulls it all together in a very nice, neat bow. So, Jen, I always like to give people a chance to give yourselves a good plug. How can we find you, or tell us a little bit more about you, and then tell us how we could find you in case people are very interested in speaking to you at J2 Hospitality Solutions.
Absolutely. Please take a look at my website, www.j2hospitalitysolutions.com. My email address is listed on there, as well as my cell, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. I'm traveling around the globe and, have no problem stopping by, sitting down with your team, talking about issues and how I can help resolve them. So thank you very much for having me today.
Well, thanks so much for being here. It has been great.
Thank you. Yes.
Right? I mean, I learned a whole lot here today, Estella. I don't know about you because you're already the expert in this field, but for me, I felt like it was a major seminal moment in my my tech stack education experience.
Oh, no, for me as well. And I really love, Jen, just what you do and how you package it. Again, in creating that collaboration, getting the max out of a hotel's budget, and creating something that can rally people together and just get them to success, and really moving technology forward, which can be painful. So this was great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you all for listening.
You.
Yeah, Jen, thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the audience for being here today. Great to have you all aboard. Of course, you can find this show recording and all past shows that we've done on SHR's website, which is shr.global. That's shr.global. And, of course, we're on the No Vacancy News feed, and you can find that on iTunes, Google Play, and wherever you go to get your podcasts. Also find us at novacancynews.com. Subscribe to our newsletter, 66866. Just text the word hotel to 66866, and you'll be able to get our Sunday newsletter. You'll get all the podcasts that we put out there, too. And if you subscribe to the Tech Podcast, you'll also get No Vacancy. You'll also get the Business Hotel Podcast and lots of fun business shows as well, all focused on the incredible world of hospitality. So for Jen, Estella, and myself, thanks so much for being here today. I'm out to go improve my hotel tech stack. Thanks for listening.